Are you a gamer hunting for the best graphic card for gaming, multi-display, or something else? For gamers who can't do away with gaming, graphic cards are their best companions. They form an integral part of a quality gaming experience. If you are not clued up on what exactly graphic cards are capable of, then there's no need to panic, because they are not at all complicated. As you may probably know, a graphic card is that component in your PC which is responsible for the graphics you see. Graphic card is an expansion card that creates a chain of output images to a display device like your personal computer, mobile phone, and many others. Well, graphic cards are not complex to deal with. Besides, here's all you need to know before shopping for the latest graphic cards with confidence. There are numerous and varied generations of graphic cards, each with their own unique features and specifications. Finding the right one to suit your need can be an absolute difficult task. To make that easier, today we are taking a look at the top 10 graphic cards for gaming. 10. Taking the 10th position is the Radeon RX 6900 XT. This is AMD's fastest GPU, and it's very much expensive. Its specifications includes GPU, Navi 21XTX, GPU cores, 5120, boost clock, 2250 MHz, video RAM, 16GB GDDR6 16GBps, TDP, 300 watts. This is on the other hand of the Navi 21 spectrum, where the 6800 cuts performance and price a bit. The RX 6900 XT speed performance and increases the price with a 50% gap. It's a big jump for small games, and you don't even get something like more VRAM. AMD pulled out all the stops on the RX 6900 XT. It has a fully enabled Navi 21 GPU, which supports account for its scarcity. It's still a big chip as well, which means AMD is better off making more Zen 3 CPUs or console processors than trying to crank out big Navi. Even as a mining solution, it's pretty mediocre, as the RX 6800 matches it on Ethereum hashing performance. Those who just want the fastest AMD GPU will still be happy with the 6900 XT. Unless by fastest you're referring to mining performance, in which case the old Radeon 7 still comes out over 30% faster. 9. GeForce RTX 3060 12GB. An excellent mainstream graphic card for gaming. Its specifications includes GPU, Ampere GA106 GPU, cores 3840, boost clock 1777 MHz, video RAM 12GB GDDR6 15GBps, TDP 170 watts. The least price and performance addition to Nvidia's desktop Ampere lineup is where the cuts to processing power might be so far. This is the initial GA106 card with a 192-bit memory interface and 12GB VRAM. With 26% fewer GPU cores compared to the 3060 Ti and less memory bandwidth, the total performance is only the same as that of the RTX 2070. The VRAM capacity isn't a problem, at least. There are several instances where the 3060 12GB begins closing the gap with the 3060 Ti, but it never really gets there. However, the 3060 Ti remains a good decision if you can find one at a reasonable price. If you discount ray tracing and DLSS, the RTX 3060 ends up being roughly with the same performance as AMD RX 5700 XT 18 months after. This isn't exactly something to set the world on fire, but then that's typical of mainstream parts. 8. At number 8, Radeon RX 6600 XT. Has a good mainstream performance, but a weak RT. Its specifications includes GPU, Navi 23, GPU cores, 2048, boost clock, 2589 MHz, video RAM, 8GB GDDR6 16GBps, TDP, 160 watts. AMD answer to the RTX 3060 comes via the Navi 23 architecture. Normally, we'd expect a 32CU variant of Navi 22, dubbed the RX 6700 non-XT, but AMD trim CU counts, memory interface width, and infinity cache sizes to get a smaller and less costly chip that functions brilliantly. Right now, this is AMD lowest cost current gen GPU. 7. AMD Radeon RX 6800. As the only one among the AMD RX 6000 series cards to launch without undercutting a direct Nvidia Ampere competitor, the straight RX 6800 feels as though it's been cut adrift. It's an exotic endeavor because historically, people have always been keen to recommend the second string of any Radeon release. AMD tends to launch main series cards in pairs, one with the full might of the new GPU and a secondary card with a slightly stripped-back chip. Its specifications includes RDNA cores, 3840, base clock, 1700 MHz, boost clock, 2105 MHz, T-flops, 16.17, memory, 16 GB GDDR6, memory clock, 16 GT per second, memory bandwidth, 512 GB per second. AMD Radeon RX 6800 normally performs for a lot less exorbitant price, but this time round, the performance gap is relatively large, and the price difference is not great enough to discuss the issue. The RTX 3070 is priced $80 lower than this RX 6800 card. However, the RX 6800 sometimes outperform the cheaper Nvidia card, but for the money, you'd surely want the only marginally more expensive RX 6800 XT because it's much faster. 6. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3090. It is important to note that this graphic card is for the pro creators and not the gamers. It's crucial to know. Its specification includes CUDA cores, 10,496, base clock, 1,395 MHz, boost clock, 1,695 MHz, T-flops, 35.68, memory, 24 GB GDDR6X, memory clock, 19.5 GT per second, memory bandwidth, 935.8 GB per second. This colossal graphic card is supremely powerful but way more fitting of Titan qualities than GeForce credentials. RTX 3090 is not built with the average gamer in mind. Rather, it targets creative professionals and compute-intensive application acceleration. That's reason it doesn't come with an average price tag. 5. AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT. The RTX 3090 may have been unchallenged at the top ranks of graphic performance, but it wasn't long after AMD's rustled together a challenger, the RX 6900 XT. Its specification includes RDNA cores, 5120, base clock, 1825 MHz, boost clock, 2250 MHz, T-flops, 23.04, memory, 16 GB GDDR6, memory clock, 16 GT per second, memory bandwidth, 512 GB per second. The RX 6900 XT sets to knock amperes, best from its perch, on high and send it spiraling back down to earth. Plus, it gets kind of closer with 4K performance, a little at pace of the RTX 3090, and all for 1/3 off the actual price. For this reason, it's a good purchase for any PC gamer without any ulterior motives of the pro-creative variety. The RX 6900 XT has another $300 on top of the RTX 3080's price, and you'd hope for higher performance in both rasterized and ray tracing workloads. Yet, it's inevitably its ray tracing acceleration lags behind the competition. 4. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3070. Finally, here's a reason every 10 series gamer need to upgrade. Its specification includes CUDA cores, 5888, base clock, 1500 MHz, boost clock, 1725 MHz, T-flops, 20.37, memory, 8 GB GDDR6, memory clock, 14 GT per second, memory bandwidth, 448 GB per second. Maybe the only high-end Ampere that's anything close to a reasonably priced. The RTX 3070 is also good for its ability to match the top-string Turing graphic card, the RTX 2080 Ti, for less than half of its price tag. At $499, it remains a significant amount by all means. We're talking the next-gen console equivalent pricing here, but it's hardly an exorbitant price when compared to PC gaming's top graphics silicon today. In return, you're gifted a 4K-capable graphics card that doesn't demand too much fiddling to reach playable, if not high, frame rates. And it'll absolutely smash it at 1440p, no questions asked. For number 3, we have Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060 Ti. This is the most affordable Ampere there is. Very cheap and useful. Grab one now. Its specification includes CUDA cores, 4864, base clock, 1410 MHz, boost clock, 1665 MHz flops, 16.20, memory, 8 GB GDDR6, memory clock, 14 GT per second, memory bandwidth, 448 GB per second. This is the best value Ampere till now. The RTX 3060 Ti is very much like the RTX 3070. Both utilize the same GA104 GPU, but the RTX 3060 Ti has fewer SMs enabled, with the same 8 GB of GDDR6 memory across a 256-bit bus. With a 17% less capable core count, the RTX 3060 Ti makes up for some judicious GPU boost frequencies. This partly explains why the RTX 3060 Ti can be within the 17% range to a few single digits off the pace of the RTX 3070, though operating at a silicon discredit. The Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060 Ti is not bad for a $399 card. 2. Taking second place, AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT. The AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT has the AMD's RDNA 2 architecture at its best. That's so fascinating. Its specification: RDNA cores 4608, base clock 1825 MHz, boost clock 2250 MHz, T-flops 20.74, memory 16 GB GDDR6, memory clock 16 GT per second, memory bandwidth 512 GB per second. As a red team comparable to Nvidia's high-end graphic cards, this is a highly competitive card that gets so closer to its rival. With a nominal performance differential to the RTX 3080, AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT is truly an enthusiast card worth consideration for any PC gamer with 4K in their sights. There is a tough division between it and the RTX 3080. The RX 6800 XT is $50 cheaper, gives high 4K performance, and a hefty VRAM boost over the RTX 3080. However, it is much simpler to argue that an extra $50 dropped on the RTX 3080 is money well kept. A little price to pay for a better 4K performance, much improved ray tracing, and DLSS. All are available today, and with 2 years' worth of developer support in the bank. 1. Lastly, the ultimate number. The number 1, Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080. This is currently the best graphic card for PC gaming at the moment. Its specification includes CUDA cores, 8704, base clock, 1440 MHz, boost clock, 1710 MHz, flops, 29.76, memory, 10 GB GDDR6X, memory clock, 19 GT per second, memory bandwidth, 760 GB per second. Okay, so far, the Nvidia RTX 3080 is the best contemporary graphic card, though the RTX 3080 is as rare as pigeon eyelashes. The RTX 3080 game card represents the biggest performance boost over the previous RTX 20 series. It is by far very impressive when put up against either the RTX 2080 or 2080 Super. Plus, when you consider that this nominally $699 game card can not just match but massively outperform the $1,200 RTX 2080 Ti, it really hits hard. The RTX 3080 requires a fair chunk more power, thus, you will want at least an 850-watt PSU. That's difficult to get, but this is the most wanted graphic card available today, which is why it is so difficult to get hold of. I hope you enjoyed watching this video dubbed the Top 10 Graphic Cards for Gaming. Thanks for watching.